that makes it interesting to work in the company because you get to deal with so many cultures, you get to deal with so many different people, and that makes you interested
Yeah.
about each other. Maybe we're not hugging each other every day because we cannot all be Latinos, but like,
Well, if you want to argue me, I'm gonna argue, man.
yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
love it. I would love it.
That would be great.
Raph, man, I wanted to sit with you for a big reason. I'm 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 an endless curious person. I like to learn, um, and something that's been in my mind for a few years. And I basically just told you a little bit about it lately, and then you told me something that triggered even more my curiosity. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, don't tell me more. Let's make a podcast. Let's dig this out.
Yeah.
Dig this down, and so this one is totally selfish. I want to learn. At the same time, something might be useful for someone, right? So,
Yeah.
but look, I've been working in technology. Let's say technology because in the web, in programming, in services, servers, and all of that since like 2001 or two, and I've been working with multiple nationalities, and one type of people that I found were having something special were people around like the Central America, and more particularly Mexicans, because I guess that's the people I've worked more with. So when I was talking with you, and you're coming from Salvador,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, you have the same similarities as the guy I've worked with. So why is that? And then you spoke to me about something with your roots or in the history or something like that. So I really want to cover that and deconstruct this and but I don't know what it might be an immigrant thing. It might be something else that you guys have that I don't understand. I've saw few things like that. I mean, not all, but a few similarities with other nationalities, such as French people. Like I find they have some great loyalty and they're still working very well. But there's things that you guys have that I didn't see anywhere else, and I don't know why. And I'm curious about it. So I didn't want you to tell me when we spoke a couple weeks ago, because I wanted to keep that here. So everything that's going to be said, I'm going to learn from you today,
Yeah.
um, and let's hope it's going to be useful, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll do
So
my best. I might not be an expert, but I can give you my opinion. I know that there are like many type of opinions about us. There are
yeah,
people that think that we are lazy, that we're not responsible, but there are also some people that think good things, and I
yeah,
appreciate that you are giving me this opportunity to express, to stand for us Latino people, and given the chance of talk about why we come here
hmm,
to this lands, to this part of the world, and try to make our lives
yeah,
a lot better.
right.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying is that we work hard.
Well,
It's
for sure. I mean, that I think on average, okay, let's say on average, I
yeah,
think most immigrants who had punches in their face in their country, basically who went through nightmares,
yeah,
come here with a leverage. Like I had a conversation on the previous podcast with Telene, and we had a big piece of the conversation going on the leverage.
yeah,
Like people have leverage to make things happen, and that's what drives our life, right? I mean, that's what make you come today, because you need living. Yeah, you need to
for
live. You
sure.
need
Yeah,
to feed. You need to, And so this is a leverage, and everything in life is a leverage. Like, you wouldn't do something if you don't have some type of leverage. So I think for sure there's something in there. Now, I mean, if you take another person from another country who comes here just as, let's say, a great country, then come here just to see something new, I don't think that person has the same leverage. But look, I went the first time in Mexico. Now, I know you're from Salvador, but I went the first time in Mexico, and my curiosity got triggered at that time, back in, I think it was 2011 or 2012. And I was talking with people there, asking a lot of questions. What's their work schedule, which day they work, and I was on my ass because most of them were working 6 or 7 days a week from 8 to 10 or 11 at night, especially in resorts. Obviously, I was in a resort.
Yeah.
And then I had a waiter who I was getting very friend with, and he was dreaming to come to Canada. And that was heartbreaking because he was working his ass off, obviously. He had no choice. And this started to steer in my mind. And eventually we hired a first, a first person from Mexico, I think. And we had a few after that. Now, even here today, like, I think we have a Colombian and a Cuban.
Yeah, we have two Cubans.
Two Cubans.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying. Look, I didn't work with them enough to say that they have the same similarities or there's correlation with them. I know, for example, Lesky is a great. I love him. Like, he's great. I just didn't have the chance to work with him, but I saw you working on different projects, and so yeah, I want to understand. I just want to understand that because you come from Salvador. How long have you been in Canada?
3 years.
3
now,
years.
Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. So
About to turn 26. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, 25.
Yeah, I'm still 25. But
So you're
yeah.
a baby, right?
Sort of. But I don't think so.
Right. So talk to me, because I know we already exchanged a little bit from your past. You had some crazy experience also in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So and also I think your dad, when you guys left, you had a good living there. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
had a good situation, maybe the wrong country, but a good situation. So you
Yeah.
gave up on that for a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me about that. How did that start? I mean, how was the school at the time, and how did you get into programming? What was the
Okay.
path there?
So, well, I began programming just because I had a computer at home, I will say, and my father was so busy at work.
Yeah.
He will work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., so that will make 12 hours of straight work. And he will get to home, and my mother was not there anymore. She had already passed out, so I was alone, basically. And a computer was my escape to my reality, I will say, and I had the chance to know different people via the computer, via this machine, and also I will get into forums. I will get into these pages like Facebook. Back in the time, there was High Five, so I was there for a long time. And as I was using the computers, I also started using my phone. Mm-hmm. Okay, at some point, and Android has this great thing that you can use, or you can install a custom operating system into it. It's called a ROM. So I began to download these ROMs and make them work on my phone. It was awesome to me to be able to customize my phone. Okay, and there was a time where I had to choose what I wanted to do in my future, and my father advised me to go something more international, like that I could work anywhere in the world. And I started studying computer science as a part of
back in Salvador.
In El Salvador, yeah. And I completed the course. It was a 2 years course that I made in my country. Then, for some reasons, I was also interested in justice and social situations on my country.
Yeah.
So I began to work to study the law. I
Yeah.
went to the law school, and I almost finished that. I studied for 5 years in my country,
Wow.
but unfortunately I couldn't finish my program because the situation in my country changed drastically and very fast.
When was that?
And around 2013,
Right.
2012, more or less.
Okay.
So basically, we have problems in El Salvador, and this is not only El Salvador. This is a problem that we have in all a lot in the whole Latin America. We have that problem,
Right.
and that is drugs, right?
Yeah.
We have problems because of that, and we have violence, and we have gangs around. Like in Salvador, it's it's one of the most violent countries in the world
Holy
for
shit.
the past few years. So
Whoa.
my father used to have a hardware store back in El Salvador.
Hardware store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You remember how big was it? Like in terms of square foot?
it?
Like,
Well, it was a local store in the
Right.
capital in San Salvador, but we will import goods from Italy and distribute them
holy shit.
to
yeah.
the whole country. So
So he was doing very well at the time.
he was doing very well.
Yeah.
We were comfortable. We will have an easy life, to be honest.
Yeah.
My father and I and my siblings, my stepmother. So basically, you could say you have no reasons to leave your country, right? Like you're good.
Yeah.
Your future might be solved, and you will
Yeah.
be crazy if you have your own business. But things are not so simple. Like you still gotta think about your family.
Yeah.
Like you might be fine, but what about your siblings?
Yeah.
My siblings are 6 and 4 years old.
Right.
Back in those days when we decided to come to Canada, they
Right.
were only 2 and 4. So we had to look for their future, right?
For sure.
And after a few problems with these gangsters, they stole from us many times, so many goods. That accounts for money, right? So
Yeah.
we will have so many
You
problems.
mean
because of
straight
that.
in the store?
Yeah.
Like he got robbed in the store.
And not also in the store, but while you are distributing these goods to the whole country, you still gotta we will
Oh.
transport these goods
Wow.
from to the capital to
Shit,
to
yeah.
so that was a chance for them, and they will just strike in the middle of the road, and they will took the goods from the truck. I was there once. I got I wouldn't say kidnapped, but yeah, I was there for 3 hours in the middle of the road. Not in the middle of the road, but in a place that the people wouldn't see you.
Yeah. They isolated you.
Yeah, a gun pointing in my head and all of that. So we had very
Like they were trying to get a ransom or something?
no, but there was enough money on the truck for justify that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
well,
How old were you? at
I
the time?
was 22.
Holy
20,
shit.
yeah, 22.
So that's not so long ago, man. It's like 3 years ago.
Basically 3 years ago.
So just before coming in.
Yeah, so that happened, and my father's mindset changed completely.
Drastically,
like,
yeah. Well, for a reason.
Yeah.
Justifiably.
I am already struggling, like my father. This is like a description of what my father thought back then. Or that's what I
Yeah.
think he thought. I'm already struggling for money. We still get to have a comfortable life, a
Yeah.
good life, but all of this doesn't mean anything if my son or one of us get killed.
Exactly.
If I die, I leave behind 2 little babies, and if he dies, none of this makes sense because who's gonna take care of
Right.
the business? My stepmother, she was new in our family,
Right.
and she wouldn't be able to understand the whole business and the operation. So that wouldn't make sense. So
Wow.
I already have a citizenship. My father, right? He had already a
So you
citizenship.
had it at the time.
Yeah, my father had a citizen.
Oh.
I was a citizen, Canadian citizen. So
And where I mean, he got this citizenship from where? Like,
in Canada.
but from the past, like he came in the
Yeah,
past
yeah.
before having you, or
Yes.
oh,
He came. So the problems in Latin America are not so new. Back in in the 80s,
yeah, yeah,
we were having a problem that was a political problem.
right,
This is a socialism, communism ideology that came into all of our governments back in the time. So there were a lot of revolutions, and one happened in my country around the 80s.
yeah.
There was even a civil war. So my father fled the country. He left El Salvador, and he lived here in Canada from 1980 to 1982.
Oh wow.
12
In
years.
which he got his citizenship.
Yeah, that's how he got the
So,
citizenship.
wow, that's a
Yeah, that was
that was a
lucky
good,
for
that
us.
was a good investment
Yeah.
because wow, that's like that part I didn't knew about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's cool. We're sitting here. So we
yeah,
can...
yeah. No, I appreciate it a lot, man. And so you were 21 years old when you got put aside for 3 hours. I think you already had another event like that, like before that or after that.
Yeah, it was before that.
How old
I,
Because I think you like yeah, you had some trouble with those gangsters before, right?
yeah. So the one with the truck and the merchandise, that was the last one.
Yeah.
But the first time I was attacked by these gangsters was when I was going to college, to university. Sorry,
So what were what age were you at the time?
21.
Again, so
Or 22, I guess.
so
No.
they both happened in a short period of time.
Actually, yeah.
Holy cow.
To be more precise, it was the same year. During the same year, I got
Right.
attacked twice.
So
Right.
somewhere around
I got-
2015 or 2016.
Yeah. So I got
Wow.
no 20. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. 2016.
So that time, that first or second, that was the first or the second time, this one?
This one we're talking about was the first time I was
Okay.
going to the university, and they stole my car.
Okay.
I was going where I was going, and the second time they went for the truck. So basically, that made us
Yeah.
know allowed
Well,
us to know
yeah.
that they knew where we live and how we transported our merchandise.
So, but the first time, that wasn't related to your dad being comfortable, but the second time was.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, both of them, because they already track us. Because the problem in El Salvador, the way it works is once they decide you to be part of their banking account, let's say, like once they target you and they decide that you're gonna be their source of money, they start by letting you know that they know where you live, and then they will allow you to know how you work. So
Wow.
they before, like,
So then they figured out that your dad
Exactly.
had a store.
yeah,
So 1 + 1, so he had some money.
yeah.
And wow. So the first one, when you were at the university, how long this one last? Like,
It was basically just enough time. I would say 30 minutes.
Okay.
Enough time to basically. I was sitting on, like, in front of my wheel. I was
Yeah.
driving,
right,
and when I was getting out of my house. We had a garage.
right.
The guy knocked the window, and he told me sit on the next sit, right?
So you left with them.
Yeah, so I had to move to the right. He will sit in front.
So you got
And-
hijacked.
Exactly.
yeah.
So he was pointing with the gun, and he dropped me around a park, a famous park in my country.
Yeah.
And he just told me, stay there for 10 minutes. If you move, I have somebody that's gonna come in a motorcycle and is gonna shoot you. So don't move. So I had to stay there. I wait for enough time. Then I took the bus and went directly to my home.
So the second time that it happened, that must have been the time that your dad's being like, okay, now we're targeted, and we better do something about it before something bad happened.
Yeah.
Because the first time you might think, okay, that happened once, might not happen again.
Yeah.
And the second time, you know it's going to happen again, right?
because it already happened once.
So when your dad made the decision, how long it lasts before you guys move? He said because he had to sell
yeah,
his store, right?
Yeah,
So how? I mean, the day that he took his decision, the decision was made, to the day that you guys got in the plane. How long was there in between?
like 8 to 10 months, more or less, because we were all Canadian citizens.
Yeah.
My dad, my siblings, and I, we were all Canadian citizens. But my stepmother, she she didn't have any legal status or way to come to Canada. So we asked for a visa, got
Right.
denied, and then we had to,
Wow.
like, once it was denied, she got the visa for the U.S. She came to the U.S. and we knew that we could ask for a refugee or asylum claim here in the border.
Right.
So she came directly to the border from New York.
Mm.
So that's how we got here, basically. And I got here first without my father, and my father went to the U.S.
And the
they
thing
moved
that
to-
is fucked up is that your dad is a citizen, so he has a passport, Canadian passport, as you do, right?
yeah,
Is he married
yeah,
with
yeah. They were
your
married
step?
back at
And still, even as of today, like we don't have to go to that story, but still as of today, she's not allowed
yeah,
in Canada.
Yeah.
That is weird.
yeah.
As an, especially open, as open as Canada is, that's really
Yeah.
fucked up to me.
Yeah,
Like,
because you have to follow the rules.
yeah,
You-
for sure.
you have to, if you're going to move to Canada, it needs to be legal. You need
Yeah.
to read the laws, because
And it's complicated.
yes, it is complicated. Because one thing we didn't know when we decided to make all of this transition to move to Canada is that yes, you can come to the border and ask for asylum, but you got denied a visa before that. The fact that you come to Canada and ask for asylum once you got denied once
Yeah.
already, that it's illegal.
Yeah.
You're breaking the laws. So that's a bad note on your
Right.
on your yeah, on your folder and your
Wow. Yeah.
on your file. So basically, that prevent her from getting a legal status here, and now she needs to look for other options.
Yeah. Wow. So tell me, what's your dad's doing now? Because he went, you guys a few years ago were having, he was having a store, having a comfortable life,
Yeah.
had to leave that. What is he doing right now?
Right now he's working in Hutchinson. This is a factory that is making airplanes parts, and he is actually like an assembler
Yeah.
of these parts, and
Right.
that's pretty much it. And taking care of my siblings.
Exactly.
And I-
You know what fucks me up? I realize, look, I'm 40 now. And I've been super guilty of that. What I'm going to say, I've been guilty of it for 30 something years, right? And I find that us, people here in Canada, because now we're in Canada, right? I don't know enough about United States to say that, but in Canada, I find people, everything is for granted. Like, we have a great life, a great country. You need a job, there's plenty available. Economy is flourishing. Anyone today can start a business, make money. And still, we find a way to complain about shit. And I look things like a situation like yours. And I know there's even people with worse situation like yours.
Yes, for sure.
And now I understand why. I understood that like maybe a couple years ago when I was thinking, because my wife aunt is married with someone from a guy from Morocco. So I've been around those people in the past years, knowing them, and I've saw them, like especially the family members, like the nephew and the brother and this and that. They came here, studied, had a great job, everything's good, and they've been super disciplined about it. And now I understand why the local people they feel that their jobs are threatened.
Right.
You know, because you know what, most people are lazy. You know, most people don't really want to work. They complain. I mean, here, they complain about stupid things when everything is for granted, and when where we have a great life. And you have those guys like you come in there with a lot of leverage that I was talking in the beginning, a lot of motivation to make shit happen, hardworking, and they start working, and for sure they outwork people, you know, because they don't. I mean, for them, like like I don't want to. I wouldn't want to feel how you felt when you got that gun on your head twice. You know,
Yeah.
like it's and so you need. I mean, shit. That's something to me. You know.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that pissed me off, and I've been guilty of that too. I'm not proud of it, like complaining about everything. Like one thing that maybe is being different. I'm coming from a far region in the province here, and I find the people there are very hard workers. So I've learned to hard work. My kids are not. Like my daughter's good. She's 18 and she's working in a place, and I've saw her working the other day, and she's disciplined. She do her shit, but she's gonna complain about I don't want to work at that time at that day, and you know I mean it's the nature now of people here,
Yeah.
and I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. It's and there's some people should have visit of some countries, you know, and see how shit's here.
Like ours. Yeah.
Yeah, and wow, okay, so but anyway, all of that to say that you came here, now you're programming, and I've saw in you that like you've been here since June, I think. And one thing I've noticed, as I had noticed that with other people, coming from not so great countries, is that you come here, you work. I never hear about you, you know, like you do your shit, you work well.
Thanks.
You you've for 6 months you've been calling me Mr. Raph, like a
Yeah.
lot of respect,
Yeah.
and I had to yell at you to stop that. Like just call me Raph, please, Mr. Raph.
Yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to understand. Like, what does make people act like this? Now, with that said, I've been seeing a lot of immigrants from Morocco, like I said, with on my wife's family, and still look, I didn't really work with them, and everything I think is not like scientifically proven. Like
Yeah.
it's for sure. Like it's just a feeling I have. I feel that if there would be a serious guy doing a very deep study on nationalities in the workplace, we would find out probably that people from this country tend to be like that, and people from that country tend to be like this, and people from this country tend to be lazy, and this one seems to be hard worker. And I find that there's something somewhere, and I've worked with like I said, a few people in the Latin America, and even one, like he's from Mexico. I've worked with him from like 2012 or 2013 to 2015 or 16. I had to let him go because the business had changed. But man, he would still be here today. Like I love this guy, and I saw him again 2 weeks ago in the mall in front, and hey Raph, and you know we hug each other. Like I love this person.
Okay. Yeah.
He's such a hard worker and such a great personality, such a great soul. You know, so there's something. I remember I didn't want you to talk, but you said something I think last week about despite all the problems in your country is the happiest people, or something like that.
It was one of them. Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, according to a study, international studies. The name escapes me of this
Right.
study, but you can Google it. We were 2 years in a row, in the top 10 happiest
That's
countries
crazy.
in the world, even when we were having all of this situation. And I guess, see, the thing is, for these countries, Canada and the
Yeah.
US, to be as great as they currently are, there had to be great people to make it great. So
And we have a lot of immigrants.
I understand that these people, the American people, the Canadian people, they work hard too, and
Yeah.
that's okay, and we understand that. I appreciate it. That's why we
Right.
decided to come here and not somewhere else,
Right.
right? But maybe there are too many benefits, I will say, that allow our young people,
Right.
Canadian young people, to maybe not care too much
Right.
about their futures, because
Yeah, but look at my kids, right? I mean, they didn't went through the economic crisis in 20s in in 2007. They didn't see that, right? People in the U.S. that had the problem in 2001, 2007, and 8, like those kids today, they never saw that. Like, it's only people like me at 40 years
yeah,
old or so who went through that already.
that understand.
And but even for me personally, it did not affect me that much. Like, I didn't see it that much. I've got a lot of slap in the face over the years in business for sure, um, but I didn't see it really that much and didn't impact me that much. But
Maybe it is also a culture factor,
yeah,
because us, when you're young people, when you're like a child, you're taught that you need to work hard to get
yeah,
somewhere in life. So hard work is, it's like a base, it's on a very basic level
yeah,
um of our I don't know, education,
yeah.
and also their respect. That's why I called you Mr. Ralph, and that's why I try to like greet everyone in the morning when
I
I come,
honestly, I
because
was
I
disturbed, man. The first few months with you, I was disturbed because I see this guy coming in, always Mr. Raph, Mr. Raph. I felt like I was in Japan. Like, everyone you cross, and I mean, they always like saluting you, and it's like, holy shit, this guy has something, you know. Um,
yeah.
but I was talking about the people from Mexico.
Mm.
No, I'm sure there's bad people everywhere, right? There's
Yeah,
there's dishonest, unfaithful. I mean, name it. There's people like that everywhere. But I do feel that, like, if you take Canada, for example, although I think we're 35 million or something, like, if you take those people and you extract the immigrant, like, probably that on an average they're more hard worker, better, than the local people itself. Now, I've worked with a lot of people from Mexico. You're not from Mexico, and I was curious because you said you had something in your history or your roots
Yeah.
that seems to be similar with the people of Mexico.
Yeah,
So
and,
what is that?
and we do basically, as you're saying, our roots are pretty much the same in at least Mexico and Central America, and is that we all come from the same tribes or indigenous people, and those are either the
Mm.
Mayas. We have Mayas, and there's also the Aztecs or Aztecas, and basically these people, they were all fighters. When, like, we have myths, we have stories about them, and the way they taught us at school is that they were all against the revolution that was coming to
Right.
them from Europe, and they were all hard workers. Basically, we were all, and I guess this is already existing in our culture, and that we all, for one common cause,
Right.
which is our house. We are a family. If you work, you get to eat,
Mm.
and you are good in your family, and everybody's going to respect you.
Right.
And if you don't work, then you are still part of the family, but you are not as respected as the
Mm.
others that work. So in El Salvador, we have the pipils.
Mm-hmm.
Pipils, it's an indigenous culture that come from the Toltecas,
Okay.
which is Mexican indigenous people or race, and then we have the Lencas. Lencas, they come from Maya.
Right.
So I will say this. This might be a long shot saying that we
Well,
are.
look, we're not perfect, right?
Yeah,
So
but what I'm
say
trying
what you
to
think.
say is that we all share that
Something.
part of history,
Yeah.
that makes us, even when we are different. Like,
Right.
we don't eat tacos every day. We eat pupusas, yes, but the thing is, we like to hug each other. We like to
Yeah.
to greet in the morning and wish you a good day. And whenever we find each other in the metro, in the streets, it's happy. It's something that you're gonna see in our
Yeah.
face because we are natural,
Right.
right? And that's something that changes a lot when we come here because people are a little bit colder, and that's something that we all complain. But we understand that you also have your culture, and we respect that. But maybe between us, that's not easy to
Yeah.
change, and even second, third generations, that is still gonna be there even if you live here for a long time. I think we that part
Yeah.
of us that makes us so warm between each other
Yeah.
and
It's so
responsible and
funny
try
what
to
you're saying because even like the people here,
yeah
let's call local people. They come to work, they barely say hi to each other. They go, they work, they do their things, they leave, and some don't even say hi when they leave, like bye or see you tomorrow or something like that. And but take people from France, for example. Like we have a few people from France,
yeah
and when they come here the first time, like there was one guy a couple years ago. He would get in the office, and he go kiss every single person, like the two kiss
yeah
on the cheek, and that was like, man, that where we it's weird. Like I know you do that, like, but it's weird. I need to get used to it. And there's another one here who started a few weeks ago, and he goes see everyone and say hi, good morning, and when he leaves, he comes. I appreciate that a lot. This is not from local people. Every culture has something special. I
yeah
find. I'm sure we have some stuff that are special.
yeah for
I
sure.
just don't see them, right? But but yeah, that is that. I mean, there's something that makes
I like
from the culture that makes build those
about
people.
the Quebecer people. What I like is that you're always like, I let's. I hope this is not disrespectful, but you're always happy and you're always like making fun of anything in every situation. You like to laugh, honestly.
Yeah.
You like the comedy. So even the way you speak, even your accent is funny. So like everything is fun. Like that's something I
Yeah.
like it. Sometimes
Yeah, comedy is
is
always very like it's very prominent. Let's say
yeah.
we grew up. I grew up with comedy. It's
And
like
that's good.
yeah,
Like I have rarely seen people upset because of nothing, like without a good reason.
yeah, yeah. Understand.
Like you approach anyone in the metro, you ask them for what time it is or any kind of
Yeah,
interesting
that
question,
is true.
not a weird question. Everyone will answer because
Yeah,
we are all like
we're open.
polite. We're
Yeah,
open, yes. So that's because maybe you guys always have like a positive mindset, I guess. So
and
that's a good
actually,
thing.
this is something like I don't have any opinion on that, but this is something that drives the pro French people here crazy, is our um, openness, let's say, to when a French Canadian talk to, I mean, someone talk to you in English, you barely talk in English, but you're gonna do a lot of efforts to
Effort.
answer in English.
Yeah.
We want to please. We're open. We try to accommodate, and that's why that's probably one of the reasons why Montreal is so anglophone.
Yeah. When I got here, I didn't know I couldn't speak French.
Yeah.
I was completely my French was
Yeah.
bad, really bad. So everybody will always say English is better. Like they will always try to speak in a
Yeah.
way that you can understand and you get to communicate. So like speak French or not, you come to Montreal, and even though in Quebec we speak French, and you like if you decide to live here,
Yeah.
you gotta go for it. You need to learn French.
Yeah.
But that is not going to close the doors to you as an opportunity because
Not at all.
I got to work
Actually,
in this amazing company.
oppositely, if you don't speak English, it might. It might
Yeah,
close the
it
door.
might. Yeah.
Like I grew up being told you need to speak English, and actually it was a big thing in my family and even in my region in general. Like if someone's speaking English fluently, like people look at that person with some pride. You know, it's like, oh shit, this guy is He's something. It's fucked up. Like even
Yeah.
my dad was like, I could hear him talking with people. Hey, yeah, he speak English, you know. It's
It's
like,
proud.
yeah, it was a big thing for us because I guess I don't know. I guess it just reassure people that okay, they're gonna have a future if they speak English because you know that's the way Canada is. But yeah, that's another subject. So I want to get back to your programming.
Yeah.
I mean, to you as a programmer because which is fucked up. Also, you did study computer science, then went to study the law
Yeah.
and get back to programming.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you study the law in Salvador, it's not going to be very useful in Canada.
In Canada, you're right.
That's for sure.
You're absolutely right.
So, but let's say that you would have had the opportunity to finish the law in Canada and use it in Canada. Would you have stayed in the law, or you would have went into programming still?
To be honest, I think I wouldn't be happy as a lawyer here in Canada because the reason or what dropped me to study the law in El Salvador is that we were having problems,
Yeah.
and I was interested in those problems. I was identified, but that doesn't happen when you move to another country. You might not care too much the rights of the native people. Like I'm not saying, I hopefully you don't misunderstand this, but it's not that I don't care, but I'm not identified with those rights or those peoples, or I don't care if you decide to speak French or not. If you say bonjour, hi to me, that's not a problem
Yeah.
to me. Like
Yeah, I understand.
it's totally cool. So I wouldn't be identified with the problem, so I wouldn't be so willing to help you to solve them. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
a great lawyer.
Right.
Though I had problems, though, like I still gotta pay my bills, I still gotta pay my car, I still gotta pay everything, right?
Yeah.
I gotta work to make a living. So, well, I decided to go to a college that will teach me how to program. Uh, I I already knew the basics, right? Back in El Salvador, I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, VB.NET, I guess, or Visual Basic, and PHP. And
Yeah. So
once I started studying here,
yeah,
and
you had a good base. Yeah.
it wasn't that hard to
Right.
me to catch up. And I like the fact that I done like the language barrier. It's
Yeah.
not a big problem in like in my life
Right.
anymore because I'm fluent in English and my French is not so bad neither. So I can work without the language barrier. That
Yeah.
wouldn't happen as a lawyer.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
And
something that
You've learned French here, right?
yeah I had to.
And you
learn.
knew English already back in Salvador.
Yeah, in El Salvador, I learned English. Yeah,
So
super.
from just listening to you, and tell me if I'm wrong. Like this hardworking portion of a Central American,
Yeah.
let's say, seems to be coming from not a so great country / immigration / a better life,
Yeah.
and you want to make it happen,
Yeah.
right? But what you seems to be having that makes it different is what you said also about the more happy country thing. Like you have this happiness, you have this gratefulness, I think, which seems to be basically making the hardworking part looks even better because you not only you work hard, but you're having a great attitude with it,
Yeah.
right? So what I mean, the people I've worked with from Mexico, they still seemed happy. Like, I mean, like there's one guy that comes to mind, like he's always smiling. Even when I had to let him go, he was still smiling. That was weird. Like I was talking to him, man, I would love to keep you, but I'm not. The business don't need your service anymore. And he was like, Okay, yeah, okay. And I was like wondering if he understood what I was telling him. And he
Yeah.
was. And that was weird to me. Like he was taking that it like super well. And he had such a hard time finding a new job after that. It was heartbreaking. I've been trying to help this person and I gave him a lot of references. And even one day he came here to talk with people to see what he had to improve. And that was weird. And still the mood was, or it didn't, I mean, he still could have been like pretty sad or,
Yeah.
but it didn't like, didn't see, you could not read that in his face. So is there anything that you can talk to me about? Like, because you kind of have that plus the attitude, but I'm trying to understand what this guy have that is so similar to you.
Because
And you're both two different countries.
I think you are already working your ass off in El Salvador or Mexico or Honduras or anything, any country in the world. You're still working your ass off for peanuts, right?
True.
So why wouldn't you do it here for something better?
Yeah.
Like here you're not gonna make peanuts in Montreal if you do it well and if you do your work as you should, you're gonna progress in your
for
career.
sure,
So
for sure.
you gotta profit. You gotta make profit out of it, right? And also I think maybe if I'm not doing so well professionally, if I have my family, and there's also the religious part or factor. If you have that, if you have family and us, if you have God with you,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what your situation is, you still have hope.
You're gonna have faith.
You have faith that that's gonna change.
Yeah,
Maybe not now,
that's
maybe not tomorrow.
that's
Sometime
freaking
in the
that's
future.
freaking true. That's freaking true.
So that's something that really, you know, makes us the way
Yeah.
we are.
Definitely people who can have faith deal differently with problems.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Mhm.
That's for sure. And yeah, wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, program. You didn't work in programming back in Salvador, right? You
No.
started to work here. I
Mhm.
mean, you went to studio a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you started to work. Okay, yeah, yeah. Jesus. I'm just curious because I want to understand what makes those. I mean, basically, to me, like any employer or any person running a business who has the opportunity to hire someone in Latin America, let's say more particularly in Central America, should evaluate that carefully. That's my feeling. But that doesn't exclude all the other countries because there's great countries.
Yeah.
I mean, great nationalities here that came here and like I mentioned, France, Morocco, and like we had everywhere. Like we had a lot of people over the years coming from different countries, Ukraine and Russia, and we have today we have someone started. She's Polish.
Polish. Wow.
You know, so we had a lot of different nationalities, and I'm not excluding any of those. I'm just saying that I've noticed a big thing about Central America because I happen to work with those. Now, probably if I would work a lot with people from, I don't know, where? Ukraine, I guess. I would find something in them, you know, in their culture or you know, a correlation together, like that they have together or something. I really believe that I mean, your culture kind of, I mean, defines you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then you drive your own life and you define yourself, obviously, but you have the base of your culture.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. And I don't know if that's the when you grow up in a great economy in a great country, how much this really helps you, you know. And that's something I've noticed here, and even with the people we interview that are local, we don't have so many locals here. Like there's me, there's Bruno. You know, I think there's maybe another one. Yeah. So we're a minority in this company. Seriously. Like
Yeah.
I mean, people who grew up from the beginning in this country, with the name
But
origin of this country. I
that
mean,
makes but that makes it interesting to work in the company because you get to deal with so many cultures, you get to deal with so many different people, and that makes you interested
yeah.
about each other. Maybe we're not hugging each other every day because we cannot all be Latinos, but like,
Well, if you want to argue me, I'm gonna argue, man.
yeah,
I
for
would
sure.
love it. I would love it.
That would be great. So, but there's gotta be a balance,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
like we all have something good.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is about our culture is we have a situation, we have a problem in our country.
Right.
If you have the chance to come to this great country, maybe the United States is not a solution anymore, but Canada is willing to give you a hand. And there are great people like you and Tony that open the doors to you and allow
Right.
you to perform, to work. You gotta take the opportunity and
Yeah.
make the best out of it.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to do here.
Right. Wow. That's cool. That's cool. Well, look. I mean, we've not been like today. We're definitely like much better than we were yesterday and last week and the month
Yeah.
and last year. There was years where we were still learning and we did crap and the environment was not so great, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we do try to have an environment that basically trigger creativity of people and just feel good. And if you have a great environment, and I'm sure there's many things that can still be improved, when you do have a great environment with people that have the good intentions, it's an home run to me.
Yeah.
It's totally an home run, and yeah. Well, that was really interesting, Raph. Really
Yeah,
interesting.
me too. I
Like I
enjoyed
said
it.
at the beginning, that was very selfish because I wanted to learn. I wanted also to record it. So I don't know how many people. I mean, if people will find something useful in it, like maybe in like people like you, who are here or thinking to move here, like might.
I think it's gonna. I think no matter who you are, you can find something interesting
Oh, yeah.
about it. Because if you are somebody out there in the world that not living in Canada and you are planning to move here, you know now you know that we have open doors, so you
Yeah.
can come here and just work, so you can get to stay. You can come here and our clients, they know that they are dealing with people from different nationalities
Oh yeah.
that have different cultures and that we are hard workers and we are all here not sleeping every day in the office or watching YouTube videos or Twitch or anything. We come here to work because we want
Yeah.
to make a living. So I think clients will notice as well.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. No, for sure. And we have a purpose. Like I mean, it's not just working and making a living. It's also like having some satisfaction out of it. Like,
Yeah.
And there's no better feeling when you get a shout out from your client.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so nice. And
It's
every time it happens to someone here, like I almost felt the same thing of that person. Like I'm very proud. Like it's something like like you
Yeah.
guys don't see that, but when we get an email, let's say from a client shooting out shout out,
yeah.
or I don't know, I'm not too sure how to say it.
Shouting out.
Shouting out someone. We share it internally. Like it goes from the HR to the PM to me, Tony, and we're just cheering together. And then we share it with the guys, but we're super happy about it. Like it's like, holy shit, this is
Yeah.
something. You know, it's cool, and it doesn't happen often. I mean, people are very easy into complaining, but when
No.
something nice has to happen, like look on TripAdvisor with all those reviews, let's say on restaurant or resort or this or that, I mean, unless you go through a really nice experience, you won't leave a comment.
Yeah. A good feedback.
It's either a really good experience or a really bad experience, then you're gonna leave it in, something.
Yeah.
So when we do get like messages from client about people here, like it's a good feeling.
And we celebrate it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We celebrate it. So, yeah.
Well, thanks, my man.
Thank
I
you for the
appreciate
chance.
it.
And yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. It really means a lot to us. And it would mean even more to us if you would just hit that button, smash that button, like that button, punch that button, flick that button, lick that button.
Whoa. Phrasing test, phrasing. Just click on that button. Please subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. And please comment, whether on YouTube or Twitter, let us know what you thought.